Can't hear anything. Rebooting the brick.
Fortnite
right,
with the bros, and he gets.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I can hear the station now.
Woo! Look at that.
Is that all it took? Was just a reboot?
All it took was just a reboot.
Look at that.
Stupid.
Stop the Fortnite, man. I'm kicking ass here. I got to put down my joysticks. Brah.
Kind of a annoying thing when it's just one simple little thing like that.
A 67-page report, Harry
There's
made.
no way Snellbra made it to page 3. Okay, let's be real.
Snellbra probably opened the first page and said, screw this.
He's not getting paid $7 million to read this.
Hell no. 67 pages. You got to pay me double what I was supposed to get.
Then I'm getting taxed.
It's just not worth it, man. It's just not worth it.
I mean, I'm only getting paid to read 20 pages of it.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
Wake up call. Of all the teams,
Good weekend.
it's the Patriots. I'm sure this drove Goodell crazy.
When he got that memo across, he's like,
Can you imagine that? Boss, I
What
gotta.
about you?
no golf
Didn't light
for
off
me.
any fireworks.
What's that?
Did
In game,
not light off
and
any
you'll never-
fireworks.
Why not?
I'm so
Patriots, not the Patriots.
Yep, it's New England.
Wake up call.
You a Jason Pierre-Paul apologist?
No, I'm anti the fireworks. Jason Pierre-Paul.
It's the Big E
was
Sports
biggest
Show
pros
on
to get.
SB
Or she
Nation
turned
Radio.
out.
That's what I said. Not apologist, but
That airs every Friday.
I don't know. I don't think he's anti anymore. I think he's still pro firework.
Every week we promise to deliver the
Has he
biggest and
turned his
best in
back on the
sports and go
fireworks
beyond the
community
X's and
after
O's.
one
I don't think
mishap?
so.
For meal, Tony Dungy.
I think he's still going strong.
That's a battle
We've
scar.
always got you covered.
Hear the big
No, that's not a battle scar. Battle scar is, like if you got a cut on your arm, that's a battle scar. That's I don't know what to refer to that one as.
Are we sure that's not
Cyber
what that
Savings
is?
Event. It starts.
No, battle scar I think is much smaller than that. That's a dismemberment.
Also, your
Well, you're
chance
talking
to
about
streamline
blowing
IT
things up.
and
I don't think
simplify
you get
PC life cycles with
surface
PC as a
stuff. Like, you don't
service.
just get a
Dell
scratch on your
Technologies
finger
recommends
after
Windows 10 Pro
lighting
for
an M80
business.
off
Call
incorrectly,
877
right?
Ask Dell for a Dell Technologies advisor.
Oh yeah, you can. You got a burn mark. That'd be a battle scar.
A small business
I
deal.
don't think losing limbs or pieces of you is a battle scar. I think goes beyond that.
Volume control for slightly above the normal listening level.
Let's go.
second level thinking is defined as looking beyond the easy, obvious conclusions.
You got to do some smart thinking.
Welcome to the second level. A Gal Media property in partnership with Jacob Media, where we go beyond the box score. Presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage is with you every step of the way. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's your host, Eitan Shander.
So a question was just posed to me by our friend Ron Culver, who does way more than simply produce this program. He's everywhere on this network. And he asked a very simple question that you may hear and think, well, I'm sure you were asked that many times, maybe by Ron or somebody else. How was the weekend? And it actually got me thinking, because in this small amount of time in this short open, I'll try to convey how my weekend was versus how anybody who spent their weekend on social media was. And I say this because I was not at any gigantic, 50 to 150 person 4th of July party or anything along those lines. Pretty quiet, low key. Actually had the weekend off from the network, so I took full advantage of that by not doing much. No fireworks for me. We'll get into that coming up in about 5 or 6 minutes. But my weekend was bliss because of all the conversations and interactions, and I had a bunch, don't get me wrong. It wasn't just all on text or a phone conversation, actual face-to-face, mask to mask, but still talking to people, even if it was out on a golf course, which has a bunch of different types of people that I could run into. What jumped out at me was just how nice and easy and different the conversations were for 2 straight days of me being off on purpose social media, not being on Twitter, tweeting up a storm or following along on things, even having to do a couple of pieces of work over the weekend, tried to stay away from anything, even my mentions, stayed away from all of that. And it's just such a refreshing realization when you come to grips that social media represents a world, even with people that you know. You may even interact with people that you interact with in real life. And you may think, what's wrong with this person? They get behind a keyboard and they are just completely different. Yeah, look, I get it. He's an animal when he gets behind a keyboard, or she's a maniac when she gets behind a keyboard. And they're not like that in real life. That should be the first signal right there to take a couple of days off. It was awesome.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-976-1460. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible, without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk to call. For free information, call now. 1-800-976-1460. That's 1-800-976-1460. 1-800-976-1460.
My name is Megan Eddings, and I am not only the founder and CEO of Excel Lifestyle, but I am the chemist who invented the Prima antibacterial face masks. Research shows that wearing a face mask will drastically reduce the spread of coronavirus. In some cities, wearing a face mask is mandatory. At Excel Lifestyle, we want to help keep you and your loved ones safe and healthy. Our masks actually exceed the CDC's recommendations, as our masks are washable, soft, double layer for added protection, and even antibacterial. Hospitals such as Houston Methodist have purchased thousands of Excel Prima antibacterial masks to help their frontline healthcare professionals stay safe. To buy your mask, please go to excellifestyle.com. That's ACCELLIFESTYLE.com. Once we receive your order, we will ship your mask out immediately. Thank you and stay safe.
Auto Accident Help Desk is a marketing agency connecting callers with attorneys. Providers pay a fee for advertising services.
I love getting my kids ready and driving them to school.
But a careless driver can change your life in an instant, and insurance companies want to settle on the cheap. Auto Accident Help Desk connects victims with powerful lawyers. They fight for you.
I called Auto Accident Help Desk and got help for my pain and suffering.
Don't let an insurance company take advantage of you. Our attorneys fight and beat big insurance every day.
Call 800-528-6859. 800-528-6859.
If you've been injured in an automobile accident in the last 6 months, you owe it to yourself to make this free call with no obligation. We're available 24/7 to help you get the money you deserve for your pain and suffering. Auto Accident Help Desk helps accident victims like you every day.
Call 800-528-6859. 800-528-6859. That's 800-528-6859.
Scratching beneath the surface. It's the second level, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
Schedule's going to be out today for Major League Baseball. A bunch of stuff has already been leaked. Looks like the Phillies will open up against the Marlins, so I have that to look forward to. Phillies look like the only team on the surface right now that is going to be down, or most likely down, to their third starter as their opening day pitcher. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the second hour. But as far as everything going on with the sport itself, it's a disaster. And I don't know if anybody is truly surprised at this. And it's not even a major fumble so much, or something that, maybe I should rephrase that. It's not so much as something that was out of their control. This isn't Major League Baseball has no idea, like nobody else has any idea, how to counter fill in the blank problem. This is something that Major League Baseball basically promised players. And now, in hindsight, you could say suckered players in to sign a deal to get this thing up and running for 60 games. The whole thing stunk from the jump. From the beginning, it didn't smell right. You can only salt down a piece of meat or spice up a piece of meat so much before that true odor of stale poison, just it gone bad, reeks out. You can't cover it up forever. And Major League Baseball just kept trying to apply more and more Band-Aids to this problem that now appears to be hemorrhaging. And it was simply a matter of testing. And it was a matter of getting good tests and having tests come back in a timely fashion. And we are seeing that. And it is a matter of just spending more and making sure you have enough. And it's not like Major League Baseball is broken from an economic standpoint. We're not there yet. This whole thing blew up because Jeff Passan reported about the Nationals shutting down camp. Rightfully so. Astros, and I'll read you the tweets here from Ken Rosenthal as well, not tested at all over the week. What is going on in a scenario right now where positive cases are going up, which is not what I think the depths of a positive case is not as negative as it appears to be. And you can look at a positive case could mean that you have antibodies, and there are different things that a positive case can show up as. That's why you get tested routinely. That's why if you come up positive, you get tested again. You might wait a day or two, but there are also a ton of false positives, false negatives. The testing is not 100% accurate by any means, which is why you need to keep testing. So knowing that, which is pretty much common knowledge, knowing that you see numbers going up around everywhere where Major League Baseball is currently playing, and that's a lot of places because everybody was basically told to stay home. That if you were staying home for whatever reason, you would have less chance of coming into contact with this virus, less chance for it to be a problem in the clubhouse. Well, clearly that's an issue because a lot of these big stadiums are in big cities and players are living in and around these cities where numbers are going up simply because of reopening or contact with other people because things are either opened or they've been halted at a certain phase of reopening. I'll read you Jeff Passan's tweet. The statement from Nationals GM Mike Rizzo, quote, "Without accurate and timely testing, it is simply not safe for us to continue with summer camp. Major League Baseball needs to work quickly to resolve issues with their process and their lab." Are you serious? Ken Rosenthal, 10:26 a.m. Eastern time this morning, 40 minutes ago, 50 minutes ago. Astros were not tested either Saturday or Sunday, sources tell me, and Jake M. Kaplan. Testers also did not show Sunday for Angels and one other identified club. Tests resumed for Astros today. It makes no sense that there would be anything along the lines of poor testing, long terms in order to wait for a positive or negative test to come back. This is basically like, and I hate to say this and sound coarse, but the reality is that this would be like if you weren't a celebrity in a league of celebrities, if you weren't in a $1 billion industry like Major League Baseball, and you were like the rest of us. And even the rest of us, it shouldn't take this long. Even the rest of us have access to pull up to a CVS drive-thru and know that you could get tested. Major League Baseball pushed and fought and tugged on this PR battle until they presented this picture that everybody would be safe. And then people individually would pull out. And it didn't matter for whatever reason they had, so long as COVID-19 surrounded that or was somewhat involved in it, you couldn't say anything. But Major League Baseball kept pushing on. Well, that's their loss. That's this person's loss. We hate to lose them. We understand, but we're moving on. Which is the PC way of saying, bleep you. We don't need you. you're making a mistake. Look how foolish he'll be for sitting out. And it doesn't matter whatever player you want to point to. And you can, and Trevor from the 203 on Twitch, twitch.tv/Shandor Show, at Shandor Show on Twitter. It's the second level on SB Nation Radio. Nick Markakis of the Braves opting out just broke down in Atlanta's Twitter. Day by day. At this point, if you are a player, and look, there's a difference between we couldn't stop or we couldn't handle COVID-19 versus we were negligent. And I'm not speaking from a legal term, although I'm sure we can find some sports lawyer to come on and push an argument about how negligent a team is versus their players and keeping them safe. I'm speaking simply in broad terms here, which is this is asinine. That you do not have regular testing with fast returns on those results. And that players are being asked to come back and play an already short and perverted season, risking their health, even though they were told by the same organization that essentially forced them back or no pay that they would be safe. How can you not look at this and expect everybody to just pull out at this point? And I know not everybody can afford to. Oh, what do you mean making $350,000, $400,000? Not everybody has the ability to just stop payment and no longer receive income. So I get it. It's easier said than done. I'm sitting here right now. It'd be pretty hypocritical, right? I also understand and would never, at this point, based on everything we have in front of me and you, us collectively, chastise somebody for saying it's just not worth it. Aaron Nola, ace here for the Philadelphia Phillies, on this weird list. It's not the COVID-19 list, but it's on some list where he's come into contact with it. He might need to self-quarantine. He might have it. It's all of this gray area. So you're really looking at 3 tiers of impact that this virus is having on specifically Major League Baseball, who is just going to move on like nothing is happening, like nothing is wrong, right? It's fine. Everything is fine. I mean, that's insane to me that they're going to move on, announce the schedule like everything is fine and dandy. Not even drawing the line at dandy, just fine end. And now you have everybody looking at yet another player, Nick Markakis, saying it's not worth it. So the 3 tiers right now that clubs are dealing with, and I'm talking about the players that make up the club, not necessarily the clubs like the Nationals or Astros or other teams who are just downright negligent when it comes to testing. But you have these tiers that are going to weigh heavily on whether or not a player is or can play this year at all, or maybe half or 2/3 of an already shortened 60-game season. Tier 1 is you have it. That's it. Like, that's front and center. You've contracted it. You have COVID-19. You're out for 2 weeks. And now comes the risk factor. Well, who else got it as a result of you? Contact tracing. Where can you look at any type of hot spots inside of an already clean and sterilized clubhouse? Well, as you see, nothing's 100%, right? Somebody's going to get it. And at that point, it's really just to cross your fingers, hold your breath, and any other superstition that you can apply here. Rabbit's foot, you want to rub that sucker down, go ahead. Hoping that it didn't spread, hoping that it's 1 to 3 cases, asymptomatic, maybe low symptoms, self-quarantine, come back in 2 weeks. Huge right there issue. Just weighing on players, tier 1 being they have it. Tier 2 is what we have allegedly here with Aaron Nola and other players, and I use Nola as the perfect example. They look at it and think, I've either come into contact or I've experienced something surrounding this virus that is going to have me quarantine. And even then, I'm not immune from it. I don't even have antibodies. It's like you came into contact with somebody who might have it. You got tested. Maybe in Major League Baseball's situation, you're still waiting for that test. You're negative, but you still need to quarantine. Or you're waiting on your test to come back, which in this case may take a little bit. So you're quarantining as a result. You're going through the motions as if you've had it or have it, but you don't really have it. And you're placed on this weird quasi-injured / COVID-19, some sort of mixture of the two. And then, oh, by the way, tier 3 is what's going on with the number 2 pitcher here in Philadelphia and across the board, Mike Trout and others. People that live either with others at high risk or they're waiting on a baby. As simple as that. Zach Wheeler here in Philly, awaiting a child, not thrilled about playing this year. I wouldn't be either. Hasn't come into contact with it, hasn't got it, but is just looming over him. This cloud of doubt and concern hanging over him and whether or not he makes a decision. So you're going to see big name players and names that you thought, man, who is that guy? Oh, he's in the majors. To guys that you thought, man, I thought he was gone. I thought he was retired for like 3 years. Everybody across the board. And it's not going to be one domino. It's not going to be one thing. Leon D on Twitter. MLB's front office has ruined the sport in this country. You aren't wrong, but these old men who still think it's 1956 don't care about people. I don't think that it's so much about, and look, I think that we're probably on the same path to the similar destination. And again, at Shander Show, twitch.tv/Shander Show, 800-224-2004. This is one issue that you can point to because everything has been flipped over its head in 2020. Everything has been entirely 180'd. So while we do have precedent of Major League Baseball, the front office, owners just shooting themselves in the foot, running into problems, their own issues that they create, this one was on them. Specifically because you've got teams that are failing to test players in a regular fashion, and even those tests that come aren't getting returned anytime soon. So sure, players already were concerned. You see players in other sports concerned. Their sport hasn't even started yet or isn't even this close to starting yet. And here, Major League Baseball, on the same day in which their schedule is going to come out, 6.5 hours from now, has players continuing to double check and triple check and quadruple check if it's worth it. And then ultimately saying it's not worth it. Major League Baseball created their own problems. It's been happening for decades. I agree. But this one here just shows and illustrates how ill-equipped everybody was in this sport to jumpstart this season. And it proves it again, once again, another moment in which we can point to and say they had no idea what they were doing. At Shander Show, another edition of Tony, Jake, or Eitan coming up next on the Second Level.
Wake up call. So back to baseball.
Doesn't it feel like Groundhog's Day?
Hold on.
It does. Every day, same thing. Every day there's a little bit of news.
Yeah.
So I bring you a little bit of news. But I feel like I'm on a streak that I don't want to break. I got to bring something to the table about the Major League Baseball negotiations every day. Otherwise, I'll feel like I lost it. The day I don't do it
is the day that we're talking about first pitch.
Yeah, exactly. When they're finally coming back. So Rob Manfred said yesterday there will be 100%. He guarantees there's 100% chance there'll be baseball.
Who's saving?
So how can he be so sure that he's going to do this? To refresh the course, it's so funny. I feel like I've repeated this 1,000 times.
We should just play yesterday and the day before segment.
Take a break. We need a break. You're right. It's like Groundhog's Day, except I'm not getting better at a particular skill. I haven't learned ice sculpture with a chainsaw yet.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings. Into the night.
Bruce Arians, head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coach, how did the whole Tom Brady thing come together for you?
We did our due diligence, and all the guys that were expected to possibly be in the free agency, we broke them all down. And, he was at the top of our list. And then when he decided to leave, we made the phone call, and he and I hit it off pretty good and started working on contracts. And he was interviewing me as hard as I was interviewing him.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern. Let's go. Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault.
Tim Brando on Twitter to follow him, joining us on the Progressive guest line. People are saying without students on campus, you can't play college football.
We can thank Mark Emmert for opening his mouth and inserting foot. Mark Emmert has no jurisdiction really over college football, but there's a little thing called the 1984 Supreme Court lawsuit won by the Universities of Georgia and Oklahoma that forced the NCAA out of the financial realm of college football. It's like the guy in the California system making this sweeping statement
doing about nothing but online classes later in the year, and he's making the decision with data in May. These guys that just want to see their names in print, making bold decisions that they don't have to make, they illustrate what happens with misuse of power. And the real leaders are doing the right things behind the scenes, and they'll make their splash when the time comes. And I'm telling you, I think that time will be sometime next month.
Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 Eastern on SB Nation Radio. Pharrell.
Coast to coast! You know SB Nation's taking over the world, right?
Why, of course.
It's Pharrell here from Sports Grid. Here's what happened. They signed Pharrell Coast to Coast and Morency Game Time Decisions, put it on from 4 to 7 East, and then everybody else in our path. What we're doing is we're destroying them.
Did we ever try having somebody on
annihilation?
And it's a lot of fun.
Like my stream that you could hear down the line?
No, we've never tried that.
Could we do that in the break?
We can try it.
Okay.
Yes, if I can hear him like during the break, then because it's broadcasting through you, you're sending me his signal.
Right.
You're listening to The Second Level, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, with way more than the scores, here's Eitan Shander.
So Major League Baseball has earned their way back in the spotlight, but not for the reasons that you think. And I'm not going to let an opportunity slip through my fingers, I can tell you that. When Major League Baseball earns the right to be front and center, then we can, I think, achieve a lot more collectively than the obvious conversations which have been going on for a while now, which is the team in Washington is better served changing their name than not. And minority owners now are looking to sell. Or a ridiculous, nothing even close to factually accurate tweet that came out from the president, and also subtly in his own way, supporting the flag that was initially removed. These things are, I figure we're better served. I can pull people over who are still interested in watching baseball than I can convince somebody who believes the opposite on the two topics I just brought up briefly. Like, I'm not going to convince you in an hour and a half's time right now that you're wrong supporting that tweet or that you're wrong supporting the name of the Washington Redskins. But I guarantee you give me another 35 minutes or so, and I'll have a season ticket holder anywhere in the country secondary marketing the heck out of their tickets. I don't even care if it's 30 games, 28 games, however many you plan on going this year. All right, Tony, Jake, or Eitan, the segment that has swept the nation. And you can interact, of course. You can participate live at Shander Show, at Ron Culver, 2 N's, twitch.tv/Shander Show. We even open up the lines for you, 800-224-2004. All right, Ron, who's smarter than people think?
I am.
No, you don't have the option to answer you. There's no fourth here. There's no all of the above or some sort of plead the fifth.
Okay. I would say Jake. Because,
Yes.
And here's
Yes.
my rationale to it, because I think people know you're pretty intelligent. I know, people know that Tony is intelligent. It may not just be within sports. It may just not be within sports, but it's, there's a lot of life knowledge that the two of you share. Jake, I don't think has a whole lot of life knowledge yet, but what he does know, I think would surprise you.
Yes, I agree. And I think Tony's the smartest of all of us because he's the funniest. And it's really difficult to be smart and funny. That's why some of the best comedians of all time, right, are really super smart and they kind of thread some humor into messages. You guys are really funny in the morning, and it's tough because there can be a serious topic that you turn light, or it can just be having fun. And it's not lowest common denominator. It's not like a bunch of fart noises and other stupid stuff that you would hear like the local music channel.
We're way above that.
Exactly. At least the noises, right?
Yeah, well.
All right.
Kind of.
Who brings an umbrella on days with a 10% chance of rain?
See, it's funny that you say that Because I don't think any of you guys do. But I would almost say Jake, and there's a reason why. Do you know the reason why?
No, his hair?
No, Jake's dad owns an umbrella company.
That's it. You're right. There was a promo. You're right. There was
Yeah.
a promo.
We have made I've made a couple of promos about it. The fact that, but this was before that. This was when his dad called in when he was hosting the main event with
Yes,
Cody Stoops.
that's right. I remember
his
that.
dad had called in to the show and had him on, and was like, you know, are you happy? And he's like, he asked him a question like, are you happy? And it's like, it's raining. I'm always happy.
That's right. And
So.
just,
To answer that question, I mean, I don't think either one of you would carry an umbrella when there's 10% chance of rain. Although in Houston, if it's 10%, might as well make it 100. It's when the weather guy comes out and goes, oh, there's an 80% chance of rain, that there's not going to be any rain. The weather people in Houston always got it backwards.
Fair
But
enough.
I do believe Jake has an umbrella with him in his car at all times.
which makes sense because of
'Cause
the
his dad's
family
in a-
lineage.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Tony, Jake, or Aton. I love it. Ron Culver is the judge, jury, and executioner. I don't think I asked this already. If I did, stop me, and I'll move on. Who would have the hardest time talking their way out of an insane asylum? Okay, good. I didn't ask that already.
No, you didn't.
Now, here's the thing. Tony, I feel like it's Tony, and I'll use it as a positive. It's actually a mark for Tony, not against him. Like, whoever you think the answer is, I feel like it's a positive here, not a negative, if that makes sense. But I don't want to hijack your answer.
No, I mean,
like, Tony's the most normal of all three of us, and I think if it were deemed that he was insane, it would be the hardest to believe when he actually turns back to normal, because we've all seen him normal, but he's actually insane.
Yeah. No, I would say I'm leaning towards that as well, just because I think people would believe that he's putting on an act.
Okay. Now let me sneak two in here. Who dropped someone in a trust fall on purpose?
You. For the laughs.
You think so little of me.
No. I just hit it for the laughs. For the content.
Only somebody smaller than me, all right? I know my limits. I'm not going to drop somebody twice my size.
Yeah. So, I mean, you would catch Jake, but you won't catch Tony.
Fair enough. All right, last one for you, Ron. Tony, Jake, or Aton? Who will show up to their high school reunion in a Lamborghini rental?
Jake.
You didn't even hesitate on that one.
I just have that feeling, man. The way the guy talks about his hot dog eating prowess, I would say it would be Jake. Jake would be the one who'd want to be a little showy.
So what color is the Lamborghini?
I would say either red or yellow.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of the two, right?
Yeah,
you
I'm not
can't
saying-
have.
I don't think he's going black. I don't think he's going, like electric blue or anything like that.
No, I agree with you. It would be one of the two. Man, I could definitely see that. Just pulling up, start talking. Look at this thing. Not knowing on the back the license plate says for rent.
Yep.
Is he pulling up on people in traffic too? Hey, what's up, ladies?
See, I know Tony. Tony would just roll to his high school reunion. Probably he would try to find his old car.
Okay, that's fair. And then I wouldn't go.
Yeah,
I've got more important things to do. That's
So
funny,
how
man.
many of us have lived in sweatpants?
Yeah, I didn't go to my high school reunion either.
No, I missed mine.
Who would have belted?
I was actually in Houston.
Say,
Is that right?
Get out a little bit.
Yeah, I was out. I came here to do like a 2-week training, whatever, or something, whatever you want to call it. And it just coincided with my high school reunion. I mean, it was literally an excuse. It was that excuse I was looking for not going.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wait, I can't go to my high school, bummer. And notifying the people, like, old high school friends who got in touch with me. It's like, hey, it's like, oh, sorry, man, I'm going to miss.
Right.
I'm going to be in
Right.
Houston for a training session. Sorry, can't do it.
That's it. Right?
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute.
That's pretty funny though.
Yeah, perfect how that worked out. So we have a guest here, yeah?
No,
next hour?
12:40. Yeah.
Okay.
LASIK.com or texting clear77 to 350.
We can always get somebody on tomorrow.
I'm really busy.
A text only
to talk golf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, none of them got back to me, but I mean, By the time I sent anything else, because you got to me about, it was like 8:00 your time.
Yeah.
And, usually it's harder to get people, especially on the East Coast, 8:00 at night.
Right.
Text clear 77 to 3.
Most of the golfers are in Florida, or most of the golf writers are in Florida.
Today, go to LASIK.com or text CLEA
or based out of Florida.
Based out of Florida, right.
50.
My name is Megan Eddings, founder and CEO of Excel Lifestyle. Research shows that wearing a face mask drastically reduces the spread of the coronavirus. Excel Lifestyle's Prima antibacterial face masks are soft, washable, and double layer for added protection. To purchase you and your loved one's face mask, please go to excellifestyle.com. That's ACCEL lifestyle.com. Once we receive your order, we will ship your masks out immediately. Thank you and stay safe.
Auto Accident Help Desk is a marketing agency connecting callers with attorneys. Providers pay a fee for advertising services.
I love getting my kids ready and driving them to school.
But a careless driver can change your life in an instant, and insurance companies want to settle on the cheap. Auto Accident Help Desk connects victims with powerful lawyers. They fight for you.
I called Auto Accident Help Desk and got help for my pain and suffering.
Don't let an insurance company take advantage of you. Our attorneys fight and beat big insurance every day.
Call 800-528-6859. 800-528-6859.
If you've been injured in an automobile accident in the last 6 months, you owe it to yourself to make this free call with no obligation. We're available 24/7 to help you get the money you deserve for your pain and suffering. Auto Accident Help Desk helps accident victims like you every day.
Call 800-528-6859. 800-528-6859. That's 800-528-6859.
Dealing with the root of the issues. It's the second level, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
So we did have some interesting activity this weekend, and you can look at NASCAR being down Jimmy Johnson because of COVID, and maybe that would limit the sports, or at least curb the sports need to have as many people in the stands as possible. I miss Kevin Harvick winning yet another race. The hand sanitizer, how ironic, right? The Big Machine hand sanitizer 400 in Indy, 2 straight now for Kevin Harvick. Is he the Bryson DeChambeau of NASCAR? I mean, think about this. Harvick has won twice, 2 straight times, 4th of the season, 4th time he's won so far since the sport has returned from the e-racing, and 3rd overall at the Brickyard. Denny Hamlin had a blowout. That's unfortunate. In the final laps, which prevented him from winning. Kevin Harvick takes it. So outside of that, the big story yesterday was the big body of Bryson DeChambeau now actually putting it together. And I don't know how you can't be, if you've been watching golf so far, if you've been paying attention to it, just watching it, betting on it, and there was a ton of money to be made off Bryson yesterday. But if you just sit back and watch it all the way to being locked in and betting every single thing you can in the sport, this has been one of the most entertaining starts, sans Tiger Woods, that we've had in a long time. And naturally, just through sheer execution and accomplishment, a name has risen to the top. We now actually have and have identified the best golfer in the world right now. Right now, that's all I'm saying is over the last couple of tournaments, that's all we have. No Tiger yet. Who knows how much that changes? Guys start to get hot a little later in the season. Nobody's writing off John Rahm, Webb Simpson, Rory McIlroy, anything like that. It's not like Bryson DeChambeau is clear cut on this run, a Koepka-esque or even a Tiger. Nobody's making that statement, but what we've had is a natural progression. Clearly, he's been a popular name for obvious reasons. The guy put 40 pounds on in a year, and he's hitting the ball farther than anybody we've seen in a long time. And it's insane how effortless it is. It's like the best shot you've ever hit in your life. I'm not even talking about distance. But that feel, that club head, the speed hitting the ball at the sweetest of spots on both the ball and the club, and that feel you get, right? Your hands are loose and you just swing through the ball. You don't feel anything back. It's it's the equivalent of the swish. He's doing that every single time off the tee. It's insane watching how comfortable he is. And that's been the difference. We've seen guys have good rounds. We've seen guys put together a couple of days over a 4-day stretch. But nobody has been in command, even third or fifth place. Nobody has had a sense of command of their game consistently from the start of the tournament to now. And yes, we've talked at length about the 3,500 calories a day, the Ensure shakes we joke about, whatever the heck he's ingesting with these protein shakes and bars and snacks and the dinner and the steak and how big he really is now compared to a year ago. The trickle-down effect, I'm sure that there are plenty of golfers now who have fired their nutritionists and have brought in some sort of strength and weight coach. Somebody to bring in a new diet and a new approach to just ramp this thing up. It's the opposite of the Hollywood diet. It's like when you need to put 30 or 40 pounds on for a role that you're shooting over the next 2 or 3 weeks. It's been insane. It's been entertaining. It's been natural. The progression of, hey, young, popular golfer who can hit the ball pretty far to this guy, a young scientist who has found a way, who has found a sustainable way to play this game. And I can't help but sit back and be locked into the television screen. I can't. I'm watching this thing everywhere I go. Was out playing yesterday, had the phone on. Thankfully, it was just me, so I didn't have to worry about upsetting anybody around me. But I'm glued to him. I can't stop watching him play golf. I wasn't like this with Brooks Koepka. I sure as hell wasn't like this with Rory. Every now and again with Phil. Tiger, yes, for obvious reasons, because he was so damn good and he was doing something so special and making such a unique run at Jack. But there are very few athletes that I can remember being must-watch television. And I'm not telling you that Bryson's going to go on and sweep everything. I'll say this. The level of play that he's at right now and the type of play that he's executing, the way in which he's playing is very sustainable. This is not a guy at 25 years old, I don't even think he's that, who is going to break down in the next 2 or 3 months. 26, I apologize. He'll be 27 in September. He's not going to break down. This is not a body that is on the heels of falling apart, collapsing, if you will. The play is sustainable. The frame that he's added this weight to, sustainable. He's going to win a major this year. I can't tell you which one. I can't tell you by how much. I can't tell you if there's going to be a playoff, anything along those lines, if he's going to battle Tiger Woods, Webb Simpson, or Colin Morikawa. But he's going to win one. The way he's on fire, he's locked in. You go back and find golfers who had this approach, who were able to execute the same way every single time, at least for the most part, and have this threatening presence now. And let me stop before you jump to some ridiculous conclusion that I'm comparing him to Sunday Tiger in the red, or even what Koepka did the last couple of years going on that tear. It's starting. Yesterday was a perfect example. There was a live bet where you could take him 17, which was the par 5, to just flat out win the hole over Merritt, the other guy in his group. And if you were watching anything that Bryson DeChambeau was doing on Sunday, it was hitting the ball long and comfortably. You also have to now, and this is why the live bet where you can take hole by hole, and there's always a tie, and that's going to be the big issue you're going to have to avoid. But placing that live bet to win a hole, it almost doesn't even matter anymore who DeChambeau is with or paired up with, knowing that there's going to be the push by the other golfer. And I'll give you the perfect example. Troy Merritt, Bryson DeChambeau. Best score, hole 17, par 5 on a Sunday. Watching Bryson bash the ball. 320, 325, 330, just crushing it. All he needed to do was get 80% of the ball on his second shot. He's on the green in 2. And this is where the trickle-down effect is going to happen. You think that people are just going to look over, especially playing with Bryson, and think, well, I'm going to try that as well, or I can do that. The sense of ego is just going to stop. There is going to be this moment of trying to one-up. You're on television. It's a national law, especially on Sunday, where in some cases, that may be your only chance to cut a lead. So due to circumstance, which is you're behind a couple of shots on the leaderboard and you really need to make something happen, combined with the guy next to you just got on a par 5, 603-yard hole in 2, and you're thinking, well, I'm going to go for it as well. Now you have significantly increased the risk when it comes to risk reward, that margin, much more narrow now for a golfer who's just not comfortable taking that long iron and trying to force a shot on the green in 2. There not only is a ton of entertainment value now with this young man who just is dominating from a distance standpoint and really playing consistent golf from all over. That approach shot, that 170 in, is looking better and better by the day. There's also an incredible amount of betting value on him, knowing that if he's anywhere in the hunt on Sunday, yes, he's going to take some risks, but part of his game, being able to hit the ball so long and being able to stretch a par 5 and minimize that into being on in 2, routinely, mind you. Remember, this is not one of the first 2 tournaments that were much shorter in nature. He's awesome, and I can't stop watching him. And baseball aside, because I don't even know who's back at this point, I need to constantly refresh the update. MLB.com needs a page in its own right to update all of the players who are opting out. Thought Felix Hernandez was the only guy we were going to be talking about in Atlanta. We have Nick Markakis now. So outside of baseball, we're going to have a couple of people. We can even look at the NFL, right? We have a couple of players right now who, no matter what the situation, no matter what the scenario, so long as they're healthy, is stop what you're doing and watch. Tom Brady on the Bucs, until proven otherwise, is must-watch television. I don't know what to expect. I have no idea. Joe Burrow starting for the Bengals, I can miss that. If I have a bunch of TVs on, the Red Zone, a couple of local games, wherever you are regionally here in the Northeast, and I miss out on Joe Burrow and the Bengals, not a big deal. If I miss out on Teddy Bridgewater in Carolina, it's a cool story. Let's see what they can do. Matt Rule and Christian McCaffrey comes back. It's not compelling television to where you can't afford to miss a snap. The 2 guys that come to mind the most, and might even be the big difference right now, you can make an argument for Lamar Jackson, although I think we pretty much know how special he is. It would be cool and awesome to watch him every week, but I don't know if you feel as compelled to sit down and watch Cam Newton and Tom Brady the same way you do Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes, somewhat. I don't think it's the same now with Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, not Dak Prescott, not my guy Carson Wentz, although for me it is, just because I'm a fan of the team. NBA, it's a little easier, right? Because you've got individual players. But I don't know if there is a national appeal. And maybe it's because the shifting of stardom hasn't really happened yet. We've kind of gotten used to who the top 5, top 6 guys are in the NBA over the last couple of years. Giannis has jumped up in there over the last couple, but for the most part, they've pretty much been usual suspects. This is a new phenomenon, and I am just so captivated by it. Every time, and it's almost like I feel, again, the flip side of it is when Bryson sits, he won't be playing this week. So on the flip side, I'm like, oh, this is a tough weekend here. Tough weekend for golf. This is the first time that one individual golfer not playing in a tournament may actually push me to not watching much, if any. Before, it was, hey, this is a cool story. Let's see what he does. Comes out for his tournament, he's right there, top 5 finish. All of a sudden, we start talking about other golfers picking up and the cool storyline, the young scientist who might have found a way to increase his club speed by doing it naturally, adding weight, all these other things that haven't impacted his game in other areas. Now we get to see the storyline. And yeah, there are other compelling golfers. It's not like golf needs Bryson, which goes back to what I brought up when we began the segment, and that is how natural of a progression it is to have such a star in the making like Bryson DeChambeau. He has to win a major. He has to do a bunch of stuff, I know, to validate it for people. What will he have to do? I'm not going to throw some local topic type situation out at you. What does Bryson DeChambeau need to do to validate? No, I'm just saying right now, he is the most compelling golfer on the tour. We don't have Tiger yet back. We will, and that could change. And he's one of the few athletes that I am rushing to the television, the tablet, the phone, wherever I can, grab or consume what he's doing. I'm rushing to watch. At Shander Show, twitch.tv/Shander Show, 800-224-2004. All ways in which you can interact with the program. It's the second level.
Headed to Texas to watch your team play, but don't know where to go for that pregame drink? Visit CultureMap.com for all of the hottest spots in Houston, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, and San Antonio. From the most popular bars to those favorite dine-in gems, Culture Map has it all. Then before you leave town, why not visit some of the best places to shop or see some of the sights? Culture Map has extensive coverage on all the things to do in the city you're in. So check out CultureMap.com. That's CultureMap.com.
Into the night.
Tim Kirchin on the line with us from ESPN. You've been around this a long time. Have you ever seen anything this crazy when it comes to two sides trying to get together to figure out how to restart their sport?
No, Tony, I haven't. I covered the 81 strike, and we didn't have, stories every 20 minutes seemingly, but that's what we have here, and this is why it's so much more difficult to make a deal, because everything that comes out becomes a gigantic thing. Just a small note becomes a big story, and that's just the nature of our business day. But you don't have to go that far back. When Michael Weiner ran the Players Association, he was so good at this that a CBA was negotiated, and no one really knew that they were really, really underway, and suddenly it was over. That's the way it should be, but it certainly doesn't work that way today.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
Hey everybody, RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com, your home for the best Dallas Cowboys coverage on the web. And did you know that we have a podcast feed? The Blogging the Boys podcast feed has daily episodes breaking down the latest and greatest in the world of America's team. We have multiple shows, multiple analysts, including a Super Bowl winner, two-time Super Bowl champion Tony Casillas is part of our rotation, and we want to make sure you are as well. We're available on Apple, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. So don't miss out. Subscribe to the Blogging the Boys podcast feed today.
The Jake Asman Show.
I just got an email from Walmart that this bicycle I've been trying to order, a specific model of bike. I want a bike. I want to just have something to do in the afternoons when I'm free after I do the show. So I'm like, a bike. It'll be fun to ride around my neighborhood. Some bike trails nearby. This will be great. My idea to get a bike started during the quarantine period when I wanted to get some exercise because all the gyms were closed. Here's the problem. Everyone had the same idea. There were no bikes left in the city of Houston. I kid you not. I was told by someone at a local sporting goods store that there was a national bike shortage. That just changed 2 minutes ago. I received an email that the bikes are back in stock starting July 10th. I'm very excited. I'll be the Lance Armstrong of sports radio, but without the steroid stuff. And hopefully without the testicular cancer as well.
The Jake Asman Show. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11 Eastern. Scratching beneath the surface. It's the second level, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
Coming up in the second hour, we'll chat with Bob Wankel, who covers all things MLB locally here. There are two stories in Major League Baseball that the Philadelphia Phillies are front and center, and it's worth exploring a little deeper at 12:40 Eastern. Before that, fake news with Ron Culver. I'll try and throw in this story coming out of Argentina about how to successfully socially distance while maintaining some sort of athletic competition. Essentially, I saw this on my little Echo thing that slides by every time that we do the show. I see it. You don't see it on the stream. And it says, the name, because I don't want to say it because then it'll trigger it. Tell me about the Argentinian, the human foosball story. I was thinking, human foosball? The heck is that? So I'll bring that up. Don't worry, you won't have to wait too long before I explain exactly. It actually doesn't make as crazy amount of insane sense as you think. It could work. You look at this weekend, no Bryson. Brooks Koepka is back. No Rory. Clearly no Tiger. Phil is all the way buried in the bottom. The big storyline has been Bryson DeChambeau and this huge body that he has dominating the world of golf. So now what happens? Are you back to the inconsistent Justin Thomas train? Is Jon Rahm good enough? Or is it all about Brooks Koepka, who missed the tournament, actually withdrew 2 weeks ago, was out last week with the expectation that the quarantining is over and we might see a return of that dominating performance that we saw 18 months ago. You've got some bigger names. It's not like this is devoid of any big names, but it feels a little empty. That's all. And I'm not willing to trust Justin Thomas after he just ruined my picks 2 weeks ago. I'm out on JT. He'll have to win something or a top 5 at first, and then we'll talk. Human foosball and why it actually might work. We'll touch on that next.
Hey, Tom, I'll be right back.
All right, me too.
This is the Big E Sports Show on SB Nation Radio.
Hi, this is Elissa Walker Campbell, host of the Big E Sports Show that airs every Friday night from 8 to 10 Eastern right here at SB Nation Radio. Every week we promise to deliver the biggest and best in sports and go beyond the X's and O's. Some of our guests include Dick Vermeil, Tony Dungy, Dan Reeves, and Rick Carlisle. We've always got you covered.
Hear the Big E Sports Show every Friday night from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time on SB Nation Radio. Pharrell.
I like hearing the Bundesliga players chirping and the coaches yelling, even though I can't understand a word they're saying in German. I took 1 year of German in high school, and it didn't work out so well for me, the whole German thing. I didn't do well with their language, but I can say Guten Tag, Bitte schön, Auf Wiedersehen.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
Wake up call. All right, Jake Asman, we had to bring him on because we had to kind of calm this nonsense down. 30 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Are you crazy?
If we go by chestnut rules where you can dunk it in the glass of water, bodies adapt, the health and science has never been better.
The next day.
The great Joey Chestnut joining us on Wake Up Call. We have another host on this network who casually mentioned the other day that when he was asked how many hot dogs could you eat in 10 minutes, and he goes, I don't know, 30. Come on. I don't think you really understand how many hot dogs 30 is.
30 dogs? I'm still feeling really good at 30
You're still
dogs.
good?
It's like I'm still a fat boy having fun at 30 dogs. So 40 dogs, I'm like, what are you doing? And those last 20 dogs are like, all right, it's all the sweat will be pouring out, the veins will be popping out of my head, and it's going to be those ones are work.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings. Into the night.
Now, what's the time difference in New Zealand and Australia down on? I have no idea.
18 hours or something crazy like that. Let's see.
We can bet on something before it happens. We'll know. That's typically what you do, is betting on something before it happens.
That's usually how it works.
About the other way.
If you can figure out how to bet on something that's already happened,
No,
like it didn't happen, you tell me how to do that.
Into the night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern. Into the night.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man, no matter what they're paying him at TNT,
It's not
it
enough.
ain't enough. The great Charles Barkley. Chuck, you said it earlier. Shaq said it. They shouldn't bother to even finish this season. Do you still believe it? I know you said that they are going to play. Do you still believe that it's not worth playing?
Listen, I'm 100% sure they're going to play, just from what I'm hearing from my people, but I just don't know how it's going to be safe. I really don't. I would hate for something bad to happen, and I would hate to see one of the stars get hurt and they lose in the first round or second round of the playoffs to an inferior team. Let me tell you something. You can have 100 players on a team in the NBA. If you lose Giannis, LeBron, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, it don't matter about those other 99. That's the thing that scares me. If Giannis gets sick and has to miss the first round of the playoffs, the Milwaukee Bucks are not going to win. They're out. That wouldn't be fair at all.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
Wake up call! Please, God, if it does come to that, can we have the Walking Dead zombies, not the World War Z?
Yeah, I don't need the fast-moving
superhuman.
Ooh,
I'm not
Neil.
outrunning a World War Z zombie.
I'm the guy you bring because secretly you know I can't keep up with the rest of the group. Hey, I'm going to take Bob and Jim and Tony. You come with us too, and everybody knows why you're bringing me. So when push comes to shove, I'm the meal.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings. The second level. The second level.
I'm trying to be more conscious about what I'm eating, what I'm drinking, and cutting back beer. And so I tried something 2 weeks ago, and ever since, it's all I drink. Do you want to guess what it is first before I explain it to you? Because you know it's something that if I'm admitting, it's going to be something where people are either going to make fun of me or judge me for it.
White Claw.
Absolutely right. A lemon lime. I pound those things. Think about it. You're out in the hot sun, you're walking 18, and you're drinking cold carbonated seltzer. I have to now be secretive in the drink that I'm ordering because I don't want to be publicly shamed at the golf course for just walking around with 6 or 7 White Claws. Now, does that make me immediately one of these crazy girls that you see on video in the Hamptons? Oh my God, my White Claw. Are you judging me right now?
The second level. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. The Jake Asman Show. Jake Asman Show.
Tennis, you only make noise in between the actual game of tennis being played. I mean, everyone's dead silent, so you could hear these tennis players go, ugh, or if it's a woman, it's ah, and it's a real. I love a real grunter when they play tennis. Ugh, ugh, ugh. You know, there's gamblers out there that are starving for content. We might have some prop bets on some grunts.
The Jake Asman Show. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11 Eastern.
You're going on a trip, but where are you going to stay? How much will it cost? Well, it'll cost less by booking on besthotelrates.com. BestHotelRates.com works with all the top hotels in the country while delivering you great hotel and room choices for the best prices. Why wait? Go to BestHotelRates.com, enter your email address, and start shopping for your next hotel room. BestHotelRates.com, it's in the name. BestHotelRates.com.
Set your system's volume control for slightly above the normal listening level.
Let's go. Second level thinking is defined as looking beyond the easy, obvious conclusions.
You got to do some smart thinking.
Welcome to the second level. To the second level. A Gal Media property in partnership with Jacob Media, where we go beyond the box score. Presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage is with you every step of the way. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's your host, Eitan Shander.
Major League Baseball has a major problem. Meanwhile, golf seems to have a unique scenario brewing, which has been a whole heck of a lot of fun to watch over the last month. Two themes working in the opposite direction. The undoing of Major League Baseball. They can't even get testing right. Negligent. Failing to test on a regular basis. And then even when those tests go through, you're waiting forever, it seems like, to get a result. Not necessarily the exact replica of the painting that Major League Baseball pictured in all of our minds, how safe things would be for the players, assuming they would return. Now you see names left and right. Nick Markakis, the latest, to announce that he's out. Bryson DeChambeau, on the other hand, has turned the golf world upside down. It would be a 2020 thing to see a 26-year-old kid who put 40 pounds on his frame now become the most consistent and best golfer on the planet over the span of 4 or 5 events. And that's really what we've had so far, 4 or so, in which he's been dominant right through winning yesterday. And in the same fashion, He's become unstoppable. If he can get that second, third shot, that approach shot down, it's going to be really difficult to beat him consistently, especially as things grow and the pressure becomes greater and greater. Now, while Major League Baseball has its issues, I did see this tweet from Andy Bell, who covers the Indians for MLB.com. And speaking of name changes in Washington, I can't imagine it's going to be too long until we actually have a concrete change of that name too. But Mandy tweeted, Terry Francona said that Francisco Lindor told him to use hand sanitizer during batting practice. So he used what Lindor gave him, except it was the firm grip, that substance the hitters use. Quote, we almost released him, Tito joked. He's used rubbing alcohol, but nothing has gotten it off. Now, I don't care who you are right now. I don't care who you are, where you are, how you're listening or consuming this show. That right there is funny. That's pretty funny. Here we go with the COVID-19 runaway pranks.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference. Like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Working from home is driving up the worst type of cybercrime, home title theft. We're doing it all from home now, right? Working, banking, video conferencing, meal deliveries, and shopping. Cyber criminals are targeting our homes. Actually, they want the money they can get by taking out loans against your home. The crime is called home title theft, and the FBI is warning homeowners. Home Title Lock is how you protect your home from cyber thieves. Your home's legal title is online, where they find it and forge your signature stating you sold your home to them. Then they take out loans on your home and leave you in debt. Banks, insurance, and basic identity theft services do not protect you. Home Title Lock does, with a virtual barrier around your home's title. Protect your home now. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim. And use code SPORTS for 30 free days of protection to help get you through this crisis. That's code SPORTS at HometitleLock.com.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-976-1460. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible, without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk to call. For free information, call now. 1-800-976-1460. That's 1-800-976-1460. 1-800-976-1460.
My name is Megan Eddings, founder and CEO of Excel Lifestyle. Research shows that wearing a face mask drastically reduces the spread of the coronavirus. Excel Lifestyle's Prima antibacterial face masks are soft, washable, and double layer for added protection. To purchase you and your loved one's face mask, please go to excellifestyle.com. That's ACCEL lifestyle.com. Once we receive your order, we will ship your masks out immediately. Thank you and stay safe.
Welcome back to the Jake Asman Show, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Jake Asman.
You know, a lot of people would like that, I'm sure.
Oh, man.
I'm sure there are plenty of people who have listened for the first hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And thought to themselves, our prayers have been answered. I don't know. Maybe that last email that I sent.
I'm just answering the question: was it Tony, Jake, or Aton? And I'm just letting you know right now. It's all
Asman.
Jake. It's all Asman.
It's all Jake all day.
Yeah, let's rewind it real quick. Hold on 1 second, okay? That's 2, 3.
Dealing with the root of the issues. It's the second level. Presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
Well, we welcome you back
There
in
you go.
to
That
a
sounds
jam-packed
right.
second hour, right?
Oh, man.
Seamless transition.
Like it never even existed.
Nope, not at all.
That's the power of radio right there.
You know how disappointed people are now to actually hear my voice after the announcement that it's Jake Asman?
Well, people were scrambling. Yeah, I mean, phone calls were being made from one side of the country to another. Jake is back on. Turn it on.
Yes.
Then they hear you, and it's like, oh.
Wait a second.
Eitan.
Halfway through the phone message that was left for our program director, thanking him for removing me, they heard me back on. Had to hang up in the middle of it.
Almost picked up some more.
That's all right. We don't want to have Jake work any extra and any more than he normally does.
You know, it's one of those things, too, where I'm looking at it, I'm staring at it. I have a big button that says Jake Asman, and I'm just like, yeah, let me just push this one right now. Why not?
Oh, man, that's great. That is hilarious.
That happened. You know, I'll be honest with you. I've done that to every show.
Oh, no, absolutely. And look, I've given out.
I can be honest with you, it'll probably happen again.
I'm sure it will. I've given out the wrong numbers.
Oh, of course.
Not here because it's a national show as opposed to local, but where I do my local show, every now and again, I give out the wrong name and I have to catch myself, the wrong number on the radio
But
dial.
Speaking of numbers, you know what number we get a lot, or we get calls for a lot, is this company. It's a computer software company.
Well, it's got to be centered around the numbers being similar, right?
They have the exact same number as us.
Except for what?
Except it's not a 1-800 number.
So it's a local number.
No, I don't know. 850. Is that
No,
a local?
850, I think.
Is that one of the 800 number brands, offshoots?
That sounds right. Although I think it's Florida, actually. Wait, yeah, 850 and 448
The
are in
850,
use
yeah,
for the
Florida.
Florida Panhandle.
That's Tallahassee.
Uh-huh.
Tallahassee, Pensacola.
Pensacola,
area.
yep.
So there's a company, a computer software company that people call on the regular every single day. They're dialing 850 because they're too lazy. They're just thinking it's an 800 number.
Yep. That's
So every single, during your show, the phone will ring. It could ring right now. Guarantee it's somebody needing some help with their computer software.
It's amazing. So I used to work for a radio station here in Philadelphia, WIP, and we used to have this Verizon thing where it's like for Verizon callers, you can do pound, I think it was pound 611 or pound 610, something like that, right? No, it was pound 610. And I think pound 611 was what you would dial on your phone to get help, to get technical support.
Okay.
So constantly, and I used to produce, I would host, I'd anchor there and do a lot. But every now and again, when I would produce, every single shift, no matter what time of day or night, you'd have somebody calling up and you'd say, the name, station, who's this?
Right.
And somebody just yell into, I've had my phone broken for 2 weeks and I'm sick and tired. And it was just hilarious because they wouldn't even stop to listen on who answers the
those
phone.
are the best. Those are the best. Well, they just keep going and you're like, excuse me, sir, ma'am.
This is a Wendy's.
You called a radio station.
Right.
If you want, I could put you on air to talk about your grievances, but I guarantee we're not going to help you because you're talking to two people who are computer dumb.
Right.
You know what?
And then it's like, well, can you help me with my situation? No, you've got the wrong number.
No.
You have to explain to them that it's not like they got somebody who can't help them. They called the right number, the right location, and that person who can help is out on break. It's you've dialed the wrong number. So, yeah, that's why you shouldn't feel bad about that or anything, especially on this show.
Oh, no, I don't feel bad.
Good.
Well, no, I don't feel bad. I feel bad if I do it to Jake.
Well, yeah, especially if you come back with my imaging, because then you're really
Yeah.
doing him a disservice.
Yeah, I'm just, pretty much saying, Jake, I'm already looking past your show,
Right.
looking towards Eitan.
And on top of that, anybody who's been listening
with
to you.
if I do it to your show and I'm throwing Jake's imaging on there, I'm like, I'm reminiscing.
Well, was there something that Jake did to start his second hour that was so powerful it's still resonating in your mind?
Yeah, to tell you honestly, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I mean, we did There was a lot of hot dog talk.
Okay, yeah, we didn't talk much about the hot dogs.
We
yet.
haven't talked about chestnut.
No, let's do that. And you're right. Shame on me for not bringing it up sooner. But we had baseball doing what baseball does, and I
Well,
could
this is
not
what
let
baseball
Bryson
does
go.
best now.
Yes, and you know me. We've been talking. You and I, especially on this show, have been all over the Bryson DeChambeau thing from the jump. So I feel like we needed to reward our listeners with that. Before I get to the hot dog stuff, because we'll do that, then fake news, and then chat with Bob Wankel's one of the best baseball minds that I know here, with a couple of big stories in Philly that are going to be dominoes for the rest of Major League Baseball. I'm getting married in now 19 days. I have to do something today that I've never done before in my life.
Yes.
All right. Do you want to take a shot at what it is?
Is it clean?
Yes, of course it's clean.
All right. You are.
It's probably going to shock you because you would think at some point I would have to go through this process. Not
Blood test?
What?
Blood test?
No.
I know they don't do that anymore. I didn't have to do it for me. Which, by the way, I'll tell you that in a second. God, I don't know.
Fitted for a tux.
Fitted for a tux. You've never done that before?
Suit. I've been fitted for my own suit, but I've never had to rent a tux before. So it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It doesn't wear any different. I'm not going to have to sit there any extra. Because, I like to go into my fittings. If I'm going to buy a suit, I like to go in there with like a T-shirt and basketball shorts and socks. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Just make sure they do your inseam the right way, going up to the area.
Not down?
No,
What's the
you do the inseam. When you do the inseam, you got to make sure that they, start at your the bottom right there, where your foot touches the ground, and run up your inner thigh all the way up.
This sounds like that Chris Matthews clip that went viral.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Thrill running up his leg.
Yeah, well, they just
is that what
they
that
just
is?
Shift it to one side to get the accurate measurement. Then they'll go up the other side and shift it back over for you.
Yeah,
No harm, no foul.
I like a little room though. I mean, can I get my tux baggy? Can I be like Manny Ramirez?
I think you can.
I already have to.
Or just get get the Pablo Sandoval size.
No, well, I hopefully I'm not that big.
You don't need to be swimming in it. Is that what you're trying to say?
Not only do I not want to be swimming in it, I don't want it to be like the size that the max size before you have to go to like a big and tall store, because I'm certainly not tall. I'm 6 foot pushing it, standing up straight. So that's my point. If going a little baggy means that I'm now pushing whether or not I can still shop at that store, I might have to hold off a little bit and just get a tighter fitting suit. But it's a tux and I'm renting it. So I've never had to go through this before. I've never been in a wedding party. Clearly, I've never been married before. I've never had to wear a tux. I've always gotten away with a suit in some regard or a blazer, something like that.
Right.
They told me a half hour. You've been fitted for many a tuxes, including your wedding, I'm sure. How long did that process? I need to know. I need to go in there. I already have an idea. The tux, I picked it out. I showed it to them ahead of time. I need to have an idea. Is it really going to take me a half hour? Or you think, is this a long, is this like a wedding dress? That's going to take 3 hours, Ron Culver.
No. It won't. I don't even know if it'll take you a half hour. It all depends on how many people are in the store at that one time. If there's anybody in the store, you might have to wait, but they measure you quickly. I mean, they'll take all your measurements really quick. There's no time at all. And then they'll just have you try on different jackets to make sure they got the right size jacket for your chest size, and then just measure your arm length, and then you're done. You're out of there.
Okay, so I should be in and out in a half hour. Right? Give or take. Shoes. Am I buying shoes, or is this all part of the rental? Like, where do the upcharge? I have no idea what I'm stepping myself into right now. Where's the upcharge going to be?
Included. The upcharge, I would say, if you decided to go for a different tie or vest combo, you might can upcharge on that. Tails, no tails.
No. This isn't a prom, man. All right, I'm not coming in with a cane and a top hat. Jeez, give me some credit, will you?
I think the only there really isn't. I mean, everything's included. I mean, it's obviously socks and underwear. That's on you. You're not going to rent those.
No,
but usually they provide shoes. They provide the pants, the jacket, the shirt. Even provide the cufflinks. Now you might, if you opt for better looking cufflinks than what they provide, because they just have like the standard issue, simple ones. But I would almost say
You know what's going to happen is I'm going to walk into this store. I'm going to rent the tux, and I'm going to see 2 or 3 things that I really like that I have no business buying. Put down a credit card that I probably should not even have in my wallet, and walk out with like 2 or 3 things. No business whatsoever. All golf-related stuff. I'm sure I'll see some like golf shorts or a golf shirt.
You know, that's where your upcharge comes in. If you're all of a sudden looking over and like, you know what? Never thought I needed a hat like that, but I need it.
I know. And this is where I get killed.
Never thought I needed a top hat.
That's why I'm terrible when you get up to the front of where the cash registers are. Whatever it is. If it's and it's not just the normal stuff. I don't know if you've noticed this. We have Marshalls or Kohl's. Do you have any of these stores?
Yes.
Okay. So you go in and you can get clothes. You get a lot of good stuff on major discount, really good stuff at a cheap price. And then you start to walk up to the front where all the registers are and the cashiers are waiting to check you out. And it's not just a candy bar or a Hershey's bar that's there. They have like these authentic chocolates. They have hand-dipped almonds and dark chocolate. They have all of these elegant things that you can buy and snack on, right down to like all the electronic impulse buy things. Like, maybe I do need a 5th iPhone charger because I can't find my other 4. That's where I get in trouble. And I know in this case, I'm going to walk in with one thing on my mind only, and that's to rent the tux. And I'm going to walk out with a new wardrobe that I can't afford. Can't I just do this online?
Not accurately. I mean, you could probably take your own measurements, but it's the one thing, like I would say, just go in and have them do it real quick. You're in and out. I would say it probably would take like maybe 15, 20 minutes tops.
Okay. All right. I wanted to get that out. Did you see the human foosball story? Is that part of fake news?
No.
Okay, good. So we have that.
I have other sports a part of fake news.
Good. I do want to save we'll do the hot dogs one for the road. All right. And we'll talk to Bob Wankel for about 10 minutes at 12:40. Break. Have a nice, juicy hot dog themed segment, one for the road. First, we've got fake news next on the second level.
Into the night.
Here with Phil Simms into the night. All right, Phil, where's the 30 for 30 on Phil Simms and Bill Parcells?
No, the whole
and
Parcells
the
era with the Giants
exactly.
would be fascinating.
How can that not be a 30 for 30, Bill?
Well, one, it's a new world or an old world back then, so there's not video much of anything, and especially our interactions during practice. So his favorite, I always say this, played under Bill Parcells for 8 years. Of course, we had great success. And when he retired, I had to come home and check my birth certificate to see if my first name began with a P or an F. Because for 8 years, I was F and Sims. F and Sims. It never ended.
Well, you can spell Phil with an F, depending.
Well, I guess you can. Yeah. One of my teammates once said, you should just write FS. It's like Lawrence Taylor does LT. And I go, what? Excuse me, what'd you say? He goes, FS. I said, I thought I heard you say that.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern. Game Time Decisions.
I'm Gabriel Morency, inviting you to join me and the Raging Redhead, Cam Stewart, weekdays at 6 Eastern on SB Nation Radio, the loudest station in the nation. No games, no problem. We've got your back. Weekdays at 6. We throw it down. Best bets, props. If they're playing, we'll find a number on it. Bring it. Weekdays at 6. SB Nation Radio, Game Time Decisions.
Game Time Decisions with Gabe Morency and Cam Stewart. Weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Wake up call.
The Carolina Panthers held a poll on Twitter asking the fans who the GOAT of the franchise has been.
And they said...
You ready for the choices?
Yeah.
Julius Peppers.
Steve Smith.
Luke Kuechly.
That's it. I'm done. That's it?
Really? Are you noticing a glaring omission?
I know, right? Really?
Well, I think the only MVP they've ever had.
I know. A guy who's still looking for a job.
Number 1 overall pick who actually lived up to the hype.
He was the franchise face. Cam Newton, it was 15-1. MVP led them to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, not good enough to make their GOAT list. I'm not going to take anything away from Julius Peppers, Steve Smith, Luke Kuechly. All fine players.
He's at least put Cam Newton in a poll of the greatest players of the franchise history. Come on, Carolina. Stop it.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings. Pharrell,
The Cowboys want to make Dak the second highest paid quarterback in the league. Dak wants to make the most money. Essentially, every guy in the league that's a quarterback's making somewhere between 25 and 35 million. Aren't they all making fat money? And aren't they all the eventual demise? These contracts with quarterbacks, the demise of football teams. When you have to pay one guy that much money, it breaks up the team.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
So, can I ask you a question?
Fake news with Ron. With all the fake news out there,
Don't believe those lies.
it's on Shander to give it to you straight. 3 stories, but only one is fake. It's
true. I know it's a weird thought, but it's true.
Can Shander spot the fraud? Here's Ron Culver.
Yeah, you know what? I got it right that time.
You did.
I got the right imaging.
I appreciate that.
So the day's already turning around.
Can only get better from here. You've got 32 minutes before you can get out of there. Go home.
Yep. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's start with story number 1. George Costanza. You know that guy.
Is this the real Costanza or is this
Jason Alexander?
Right.
Endorsed the McDLT in what can only be described as the most epic commercial to have ever been made.
Is this a retro? Like somebody found this, or is this new?
No, well, somebody found this. It's an older commercial.
Okay, because the McDLT is an old sandwich that used to be separate the hot and the cold. You keep the hot hot, the cold cold.
Now, do you know of said commercial?
I'm racking my brain here. I can remember the styrofoam container that had the hot, the cold.
Yep.
But I can't. I remember that Jason Alexander did Rolls Gold pretzels, and they actually had them in a couple of Seinfeld episodes.
But in Seinfeld, he never did the McDLT?
No.
Come on, George.
This is assuming that he actually did this. Is this what this was? Somebody just unearthed this?
Somebody unearthed it, and we need to thank him for it, personally.
All right, if this is real, do we actually have the commercial?
Maybe.
Okay. So we all should hope that this is a real story simply because then we can hear you play the audio, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Story number 2. I don't know if you saw this viral video over the weekend. It was going around a lot.
Cam Newton?
A lawn bowler, otherwise known as Bocce.
Yes, I know Bocce.
I'm not sure where he actually is from, but he should be heralded as a hero for this once-in-a-generation shot that he made.
Well, what was the shot?
I don't, it's hard to describe. He threw the ball way to the outside, and at the very last possible moment, spun the ball to squeeze in between 2 of his opponent's balls without touching it, resting it against the little, I don't know what you call it, the little tiny ball, the one that you aim for.
Right. Like
literally,
the pointer.
Literally resting it right up against it. It is one of the most epic shots. Crowd went wild. He acted very ho-hum about it.
So this is like the bowler who is hanging his ball on the line between the gutter and the actual ramp.
Yep.
Until the very last second. Yeah.
It fires in and you get a perfect strike out of it. This is what this is. But the where he aimed it in between is unfathomable. It's hard. It's like literally the width of a bocce ball. And he did it perfectly.
Now, this is only a big deal because it went viral, right? It's not like we as sports fans
wouldn't care less
Right.
about it, but it was the fact that, I don't even know if it's in England. BBC Sport was the first to put it out, and then Sports Center carried it.
Wait, was this some sort of professional competition?
Yes, it's a professional competition.
Okay, now that changes it. I thought it was just somebody in their backyard, and they happened to be filming it.
No. This was a professional competition.
Got it. Well, that makes a little more sense then, as far as why it would go
Why we're
viral.
seeing it, but it's still hard to fathom how that happened.
Well, that's probably that toss, if you will. I imagine it's a toss or a chance or something.
Whatever
right?
you call it. I don't know what you call it.
Probably won that guy the money. Right? That was
No
the Hail
idea.
Mary.
No idea. Like I said,
Oh, do you think it was a wasted roll where it happened in like the first round?
How disappointing would that be, right?
Yeah, that would probably be the worst case scenario. Is his second
All right.
roll was that?
Story number 3.
Yes, sorry.
People in LA voiced their displeasure with beaches being closed amongst other COVID-related issues by launching illegal fireworks on July 4th.
So are there legal fireworks?
Have you seen that video where there's a helicopter, a news helicopter flying through the air, just showing the area of LA, and it looked like every single house was launching fireworks.
Are they illegal in Los Angeles?
Yes, they are.
What about the state?
Not in the state.
Just in the city. City
Just
limits?
in the city in LA County.
LA County.
Which is
Okay.
a pretty big county.
It is. I imagine it's huge. Well, I'll say this. The fireworks did not go off last night. I was up at midnight, technically Monday morning.
So they've stopped.
They've stopped completely. And I'm not far off from Center City or West Philadelphia areas that northeast that were all over the place when it came to fireworks. So this was like one last hurrah. Is that what you're saying?
What do you mean? You mean for LA?
Yeah.
Oh no, it was everyone kind of banded together because they know it's illegal to fire them in LA, but
That's
they all
what I'm
banded
saying.
together.
So
Yeah.
it was all like one last, just let's get
Yeah.
them all out.
We're just gonna, hey, you know what? We're mad as hell, and we're not gonna take it anymore. Moment.
Does that shed, do you think, if this story is true, do you think that would shed some light on why there were so many fireworks going off for the
Possibly
last 2 to 3
all
weeks?
over the place.
Yes.
Not in all the cities, maybe.
And then all of a sudden it stopped.
Yeah.
But why? Okay, if that's the case, then why would it stop July 5th? See, I'm trying to reason through this
No, it's not
story.
July 4th.
Well, no, I had a ton of
You mean-
fireworks.
yeah,
off.
yeah, but you mean why there's no fireworks July 5th?
Correct.
I don't know. No idea.
Wouldn't you want to keep doing that? Unless,
Yes,
of course
I would.
Yeah, unless, of course, you get identified with the police or.
All right, I need
news
an answer.
helicopter. I'm going to say story 2.
Story 2?
Yeah. I have
No.
a feeling that you. No?
Story 2, that bowler shot. I will send it to you or Google it.
It is true.
Absolutely unreal. It's amazing to see. Actually, story number 3 is fakes.
Oh, so
Fakes.
this means you do have the
reason
commercial.
why. Yeah, I do have the
That's
commercial.
why you're rushing me.
That's why I'm rushing
Yes.
you right now.
That's why I didn't just say story
that's why
1.
I'm glad you did because it's a minute long. I need the full
All
time.
right, go ahead, play it.
No, I'll tell you real quick. The story 3, the reason why it's fake, they launch fireworks in LA every single year, and it's always been illegal.
Ah, so I should
There's
have known.
no reasoning behind it. It's
That's
not because
bad
of
LA
beach
knowledge
closing.
by me.
Yeah, but here's perhaps the greatest thing you've ever heard.
Say you're getting tired of lettuce and tomato hamburgers in this town that don't quite make it? Yeah! You say that just once you'd like your hamburger hot and your lettuce and tomato cool and crisp all at the same time? Yeah! Well, I say you got it. I'm talking McDonald's new lettuce and tomato hamburger, the McDLT. I'm talking quarter pound of beef on the hot side. And the hot stays hot. The new McDLT. Hot, hot. Crisp lettuce and tomato on the cool side. And the cool stays cool. The new McDLT. Cool crisp. The beef stays hot. The cool stays crisp. Put it together, you can't resist. The hottest taste. The coolest dish. Keep it hot, hot. Keep it cool, cool. McDLT. McDLT. Hot beefy McD. Cool crisp LT. McDLT. It's a good time. Hot beefy McD. For the great taste. Cool crisp LT. Of McDonald's. Could be the best tasting lettuce and tomato hamburger ever. McDLT.
All right. The first thing that comes to my mind is if you didn't tell me that was Michael Alexander or Jason Alexander and that was George Costanza, I would never have known. I would never have guessed. It doesn't even sound like him.
Well, obviously younger version of him. It's guys, you know what? Google it or YouTube it. It is worth the watch.
It sounds worth just for that song.
It is unreal. Full head of hair, right?
Sure.
Almost a full head of hair on Jason Alexander, and he's kind of running around in a Miami Vice getup.
So he's in like this white suit, Don Johnson suit?
Yes.
And is he dancing along?
Sleeves are rolled up. He's dancing.
Perfect.
I mean, it's phenomenal. I don't know why I don't remember this because it seems like something I should have remembered in my youth.
That is amazing. I'm glad you unearthed that. Thank you.
You have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a...
It is absolutely ridiculous.
I can't believe
These are the
that's
policies
in
you had to
existence.
purchase for your previous
I
mistakes.
sent you Bob's
If
number
so, you need to
just
call
in case you can't hear
a
him.
term provider.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm-
You're gonna try it through here
Yep,
first.
I'm going to try to bring him
Big
on right
Lou
now.
is intimately familiar
'Cause if
with
you
your
could hear
problems.
him,
if you're 50 or 60
then
years old and in
he'll go out
reasonably
over
good
the air.
health, a $1 million policy
Worst
should
case
only
scenario, I'll
cost
just
about
disconnect from the stream live. You can call
$200
us.
per month.
We've
Big
done
Lou
worse
may have a
for
solution
live
for
radio,
your
I'm sure.
previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to
All right, I just texted you the.
Oh,
the
nice.
link.
policy. Remember, call
Oh, that's a
Big
good
Lou.
account.
He's like you.
Super 70 Sports. Yeah.
Yep.
Call Term Provider at 800-568-2790. That's 800-568-2790 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-568-2790.
Message and data rates may apply.
Guys, got hair loss? I know what you're thinking. Should I shave my head, comb it over, wear a hat? Just stop. This isn't 1970. Keep your hair and your confidence because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, can give you your real, natural-looking
come
hair
on,
back
Bob.
permanently. They're giving away an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card to everyone who texts EASY11 to 85850. Dude, you don't
Yo.
have to look like
Yo,
your
what's
dad
up?
because this isn't your dad's hair loss treatment. People all
Can
over
you
the
hear me?
country trust
I
Bosley.
can. Can you
because
hear
they
me?
use the latest technology.
Yeah, I
to
can.
give you
Now,
your real
Ron, can you
hair
hear
back.
Bob?
You want
No, I can't.
Testing.
your real,
No,
naturally
it's
growing
nothing.
hair. And the best part,
How
Bosley
about now?
permanent solution is
Nothing.
Still nothing.
Bosley
Nothing.
guaranteed.
Count to
Let them show
5
you
real
for
quick, Bob.
free
And
how
Ron,
awesome your
let me
hair
see if
will
you can
look
hear this.
with an absolutely
1,
free
2,
information kit and a
3,
gift card for $250 off.
4,
Text
5.
EASY11
Can
to
you hear him?
85850.
No, I'm not hearing anything from him.
Damn it.
One
All right.
to
I'm going to have to,
85850.
I'll disconnect
going
and,
on a
and we'll
trip,
call you on the line
but
real quick.
Where are you going to stay?
Sorry, man.
How much will it cost?
Huh. I don't know why that's
it'll
the
cost
case.
less by booking on besthotelrates.com. BestHotelRates.com works with all the top hotels in the country while delivering you great hotel and room choices
My
for the
thing's
best
going
prices.
out. Is it not
Why
coming
wait?
in?
Go to besthotelrates.com.
I texted you his
enter your
number.
email address and start
Yeah, I'm calling him right now.
Okay.
hotel room. BestHotelRates.com. It's in the name. BestHotelRates.com.
My name is Megan Eddings, founder and CEO of Excel Lifestyle. Research shows that wearing a face mask drastically reduces the spread of the coronavirus. Excel Lifestyle's Prima antibacterial face masks are soft, washable, and double layer for added protection. To purchase you and your loved one's face mask, please go to excellifestyle.com. That's ACCEL lifestyle.com. Once we receive your order, we will ship your masks out immediately. Thank you and stay safe.
I got to figure out how to do that. Damn it. That would make life incredibly easy.
I know there's a way to do it. He's on the line, by the way.
Okay. Charlie Daniels is done. We should play some fiddle.
You're listening to the
You
second
mean retired?
No, he's dead.
Rocket Mortgage
Oh, he's dead?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Auto Parts Studios with way more than the scores. Here's Eitan Shander.
All right, we're going to go out to the Progressive guest line, joined in a minute by one of the best baseball minds I know. And, of course, there's some stories happening here in Philadelphia that are going to have, I'm sure, a domino effect, if they haven't already, around Major League Baseball and, of course, the bigger picture. Charlie Daniels has passed away, and I feel like Charlie Daniels and Maceo Parker are probably the first two names that come to mind that will be synonymous with one instrument and more synonymous with that respective instrument than anybody else that has ever played that instrument. Charlie Daniels and the fiddle, Maceo Parker and that horn. I'm sure, like guitarist, it's pretty tough, right? You start to open up that can of worms. One person to be associated with the guitar of all time. You get it. That's what starts Twitter fights. You can follow Bob Wankel at Bob Wankel CB on Twitter. Phillies betting and beyond for Crossing Broad at Crossing Broad, crossingbroad.com. Bob, Eitan Shander, always appreciate the time, my friend. And let's start here locally because I don't know if there's another baseball team right now. And I know things change, especially by the second as another player says, nope, not for me this year. But it looks like the Phillies might be the only team in Major League Baseball that's set to start their number 3 pitcher on opening day as a result of just clouded confusion surrounding both Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, the Phillies
the Phillies are definitely in a little bit of a pickle here. There has been some good news though in the last hour or two. Aaron Nola did make an appearance at Citizens Bank Park, so that's certainly encouraging. Just because we don't know really what is going to happen here, and we don't know as guys get diagnosed and they're put on the COVID-19 list, how long they're going to be out, why they're on the list. There's just so much uncertainty. So seeing him down at the stadium today was certainly an encouraging development. And I would imagine that as he throws a bullpen this afternoon, that if all goes according to plan from here on out, that he would still be on track to make the opening day start. And that's as things stand right now.
And I guess the issue at hand is, as you laid out, we don't really know what the cause was for him being out in the first place. It's not like the team said soreness. We know that no team is going to purposely at least disclose COVID-19 as a reason. It's going to have to be found out, if you will, by people in the media. So there's still this hanging concern that it might not be a COVID-19 issue that kept Nola or other players out around the country, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless the player comes out and makes it clear that this is why he's out, we're not going to know. It could be as simple as a player could be exposed to somebody that has tested positive. It could have been a situation where the player was 2 steps away from somebody that tested positive. So there's a variety of reasons. It's hard not to speculate. It's hard not to make the assumption or try to draw a connection between the two. But that's sort of the situation that we're in, and the messaging behind it creates a very murky situation here. And the thing is, every time you think you have a handle on what a team might look like, or if you try to evaluate the roster or try to size up what a division may look like, it just seems like every hour there's a new development for some team, and none of it's really positive. And so it's just a completely fluid situation, and it's hard to really get a grasp on what we're talking about here because it evolves so quickly.
Yeah, we've seen the Nationals, the Astros, an undisclosed team. I don't know how much you've uncovered with what you do covering the Phillies, specifically baseball secondary, about how the testing process has gone here in Philadelphia. But this looks like a major catastrophe that Major League Baseball fumbled in keeping these guys at least regularly tested.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any way that you can argue that. I would tell you that we knew coming into this process it wouldn't be perfect. There were going to be some pitfalls, some stumbling blocks, and that's to be expected. But the idea that testing agencies didn't show up, or that they've not been able to provide the turnaround of the test results in a timely fashion, I have to be honest with you, that was not one of the things that I was expecting. I expected positive cases. I expected teams to possibly have to shut down practices for a day or two at a time to try to mitigate outbreaks and assess and gather information. That part of it, you understand coming into this that it's possible that's going to happen, but for the agencies not to be able to provide accurate test results in an efficient timeline, to me is unbelievable. And to be honest with you, I've thought all along that baseball will get off the ground this season, and I still believe that. But I don't know if we get to the finish line here. But if they can't get together and figure out these testing protocols and clean this up in the next few days, I mean, this better be it. This better be the one situation across baseball this week, early on this week, where teams are saying we have to cancel practice, we have to delay our practice schedule because we don't have our test results. If this continues to happen a week, 2 weeks out from now, it's going to be a catastrophe.
Bob, what about the secondary element of it? Not guys that have come directly into contact with COVID-19, placed on a list, or even guys kind of quasi on a list that might have come into contact with somebody who has it, and it's a precautionary method. The third tier, which is the Zach Wheelers, the Mike Trouts, the people who are either living with others at high risk, awaiting a baby, some sort of scenario that would probably dictate for them to stay home. You've got it all over Major League Baseball, and Philadelphia is no exception.
Yeah, Zach Wheeler talked about this yesterday, and he said he wasn't sure if he was going to start the season. He wasn't sure if he really even wanted to come to practice. He said he evaluated it. So far, he feels comfortable with what the Phillies are doing. And I think what we're going to see is it's going to be a player-by-player basis. It's, Zach Wheeler right now could feel comfortable and be ready to start the season. His wife is expected to give birth, I believe, July 25th, which would be game 2 as it stands now. But he's on track. He's throwing. He's trying to be ready. He said if he has to leave the team, he would probably miss 1 or 2 starts in the best case scenario. But I think that there will be certain players as this thing progresses where they just say, this isn't worth it. And as sports fans, we say that these guys are millionaires or that they're playing a kid's game and they should be so fortunate to have this opportunity. But this is different. This entire situation and this entire season is just so much different than it is in any other year that I can't fault a player for stepping away and saying, I can't take any risk, even if it's a minimal one, which, by the way, is a very optimistic outlook. I can't fault a player, though, for saying, I don't want to risk it. I want to be there for the birth of my child. I mean, God forbid, imagine if you're Zach Wheeler and, July 18th, 19th rolls around, a week out from your child supposedly being born, and you come down with coronavirus and you can't be around your child or your wife at the time she gives birth. I mean, that would be a devastating outcome. So the risk is just so high that I feel for these guys in this position. And you can say it comes with the territory, but I don't think that's the case in this specific scenario. It just isn't.
Bob Wankel joining us at Bob Wankel CB. Phillies baseball, sports betting content, all at Crossing Broad. The Crossed Up Phillies podcast on there as well, crossingbroad.com. I am curious, and this is a unique situation in a unique offseason in a clearly unique year in our society here. But Major League Baseball is not on the hook to finish things out like the NBA and NHL are. Major League Baseball is not on the hook to restore some sense of normalcy and is so ingrained in our society like the NFL is, where it kind of has to go on even if they delay a couple of months. This is a 60-game season, Bob, that was forced into a very small opening already as is, with a lot of resentment and contention on both sides. Now, as we get Nick Markakis and other names coming out by the minute saying no, do you foresee baseball becoming just too big of an issue and saying we tried, but now we have to cancel?
I think that's entirely in play. The travel element to me is the big question mark. You see what the NBA is doing with the Orlando setup. You see the NHL with the hub cities in Canada. And I can make that work in my mind because a lot of the variables are controlled. And it's not to say that those leagues are not without issue. But with baseball, the idea that these guys are going to hop on a plane and travel in and out of cities, and we can talk about how they're regionalizing these games between the NL East and AL East and within divisions, but that doesn't matter. I mean, the Phillies still have to get on a plane and go to Georgia. They still have to get on a plane and go to Florida. It's going to create, I think, a situation where there are just so many uncontrolled variables that it very much puts the ability to complete this season in jeopardy. And I don't really know that there's any other way to look at it. I want them to play. I want them to finish the season. I think it would be, good for the country and all of those things that kind of get thrown around. But at the end of the day, if the team has an outbreak of 7, 8, 9 cases simultaneously, I just don't know what that does to the game. And I don't know if more players are going to evaluate it as these developments occur and say, this stuff isn't worth it to me. Like Bryce Harper right now is on board. Zach Wheeler right now, and I'm taking a really micro perspective of this from here in Philadelphia. But these guys are on board right now. That doesn't mean if 6 or 7 more guys test positive that they're going to be on board. You look at what Nick Markakis said. He said, I listened to Freddie Freeman talk the other day, and he sounded so sick that it essentially scared the hell out of him. And then it kind of made his decision for him. And I think that that's very much in play as we move forward as well. So, I don't know. If I had to lay odds on this, would I say that they complete the season and get to the finish line? Yes, but I'm not overly confident in saying that.
There's another storyline happening here in Philadelphia that I wonder may have a domino effect on anybody who's expecting to either re-sign with a team or head into a major payday, knowing how crazy and short and different this season is. Right now, the best catcher in baseball remains unsigned after this year, JT Realmuto. What's happening there? And do you anticipate other teams may, at the very least, hide behind COVID-19? If not, best case scenario for the player, have to go out there and maybe prove it 1 year?
Yes, I do think that teams will hide behind COVID-19. And I also think that you have to understand beyond the 2021 season, the labor uncertainty that exists among the players and ownership groups. is also going to play into this. So I don't know how ready teams are going to be to give a guy like JT Realmuto the $23 million that he's looking for per year over 5 or 6 years. I just don't know if that's any longer a realistic outcome. And so when I evaluate the situation, do I think that the Phillies with Realmuto are still the front runner to get a deal done? I do. But I do think that the financial terms and the dynamics of the economics of baseball are changing. And Matt Klentak said as much early last week, and absolutely nobody in this city wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that excuse. It's just, hey, go get it done. You gave up a lot to get this guy. You want to win now. You got to go make this move. But as it pertains to Realmuto specifically, I don't know. I believe that the market has shifted. I don't know that $23 million a year over 5 or 6 years, especially when you take into account that the 2022 season right now, based on what we saw earlier this summer, might not even happen. So it does complicate the issue a little bit. It's not just as easy as, hey, we want to get this done, let's do it. But around the league-wide, I do expect there to be a lot of one-year deals, a lot of prove-it deals, or deals signed by guys that want the comfort and security of a longer-term contract, but they're also going to be willing to take a little bit less money to get that locked in.
Right.
Yes, it's not a great time to be Mookie Betts, JT Realmuto, other big-name free agents.
Bob, I've got 40 seconds or so. It's all yours. Curious, we had the passing of Charlie Daniels associated with the fiddle, Maceo Parker with the saxophone. Who, one musician of all time and the only musician of all time that you would associate with a guitar?
Jimi Hendrix. It's got to be Jimi Hendrix.
Okay. I didn't know if you would maybe a Stevie Ray Vaughan or some sort of...
You know the thing I always respect about talking to you is that you are so well versed across so many different.
You didn't expect that one, did you?
TV, movies, it's everything, man.
Well, you know what? You're great. And I could throw anything at you. And I know that not only will you have an answer that sounds researched, but it probably makes sense. So I appreciate the honesty. I think you're right, though. I think if I polled that, Jimi Hendrix would win probably in a clear-cut victory. Appreciate you as always, Bob. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, man.
You got it. Bob Wankel at Bob Wankel CB. One for the road next.
Introducing AutomotiveMap.com, a brand new.
I mean, that's a good one.
Who would you play?
World of automobiles.
See, I mean, guitar is hard.
Yeah.
Family
now,
safe
what about
on the road.
what? Let's get 3 more instruments up there, and then we can talk guitar real quick. Piano. What are we missing? Sax, fiddle, guitar, piano.
Well, piano, you'd almost go old school, right? You'd almost go like Beethoven or Mozart.
Maybe, yeah.
I can't think of like a modern day.
Not Alicia
pianist.
Keys, right?
Like Yao Ming.
No.
Or not Yao Ming. What was his name?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I was gonna make bacon first time in my life.
What would be another instrument that one person is most known for?
Now you might laugh at me. Just learned that a scrambled eggs. Yes, I was a late bloomer on the egg.
Louis Armstrong, trumpet.
Morning as I get up
sax,
and prep for
right?
the show.
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay.
And who'd you say for sax?
Oh, Maceo Parker.
Okay, not Bill Clinton.
No.
I got some time. I'll play around. I'll make some bacon. Then I said to myself, you know what? Let me go and
trumpet.
get dressed for work. I'll eat the bacon, then I'll go.
Trumpet. That's Louis Armstrong all day, all long.
What other instrument here?
And I come back and I go, oh my God, my apartment smells like it's on fire. Not only was this bacon burnt, it was not edible.
That's tough. What about just the bass?
Bass guitar?
Yeah.
Weekday mornings from 9 to 11
I
Eastern.
mean, I know there's a lot of great basses out there, but
Yeah. Flea?
Done with this.
I would have said Flea or Les Claypool.
Not
talk show host
Cliff
just
Burton?
hang up on you.
No, I don't know.
He's the first bassist of Metallica who died in that bus crash.
But he sort of sucks at the same time. I think that's going to be my new thing.
See, I mean,
Are we missing one more instrument? Or
I guess those instruments that are in like bands are tough.
Right.
It's hard to pick out one guitar player because I mean, Hendrix is not a wrong answer, but neither is saying, you know, like you said Stevie Ray Vaughan. That's not a wrong answer. Or if you went Eddie Van Halen, he's not wrong. Slash from Guns N' Roses. I mean, all these guys have just played on other iconic albums, not just their own.
one really understood what he was doing and why he was doing it. So my question to the NFL, this coming year, will you allow the...
But I can't think of other things.
Peralt
Other
said Eddie
instruments.
Van Halen.
things right now, but what happens when somebody makes you uncomfortable? What happens
Okay.
the next time?
I think I
somebody
would
does
accept Eddie
something
Van Halen
to bring
over
to light
Slash.
a topic that makes you uncomfortable and that you
I
feel
mean,
is bad
I
for
feel like
business.
Stevie
What
Ray
do
Vaughan,
do?
you have
do
to
you listen
acknowledge.
or do you?
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's not a wrong answer.
The odds with Matt Peralt.
Yeah, I think it's
weekday after
they're all
between
right
Hendrix
answers.
and Eddie Van Halen.
Nation Radio.
I mean, what about Eric Clapton? You put him in there?
Yeah, that's another one.
You're listening to The Second Level, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, with way more than the scores, here's Eitan Shander.
The most famous thing he's probably ever done, and just destroyed that fiddle. Charlie Daniels passed away. We didn't talk much hot dogs at all today, though. And we had 2 records set. That's probably right.
You know what I think is the most impressive was the fact that Joey Chestnut has 46 world records, which it's by itself is a world record.
Yes. That's like some Wayne Gretzky stuff right there.
Yeah.
Nobody else should be eating. Like if Joey Chestnut shows up to an event, it should just be Joey Chestnut versus himself versus any other record. That's really what I'd like to see. And you could even now, with the beauty of technology, Ron, you could have a CGI of Joey Chestnut eating the previous record of hot dogs or whatever the heck he is that he's eating at that time versus the current one.
Maybe watch all his world record runs at the same time.
Yeah,
Put
like
them up against
yes.
each other.
Isn't that better than watching him triple up some poor guy who's sitting there?
This one, I don't think this one counts. This one comes with a big asterisk. The world record counts. I think 75, no matter. I don't care what.
Why?
What conditions. Because there was only 5 other competitors. It wasn't the full crew. And the biggest, his main rival, wasn't there either.
Yeah, this sounds like it was just forced down our gullets like the 74th hot dog of the day by Joey Chestnut. How in the world? That's like Major League Baseball. Put an asterisk up on everything. Oh, man.
Got to throw the asterisk up there.
I love it. I love it. All right, man.
I'll work on a gopher for tomorrow.
Yeah, if you got one, that's fine. We can do 11:40.
All right.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Later.
I'll talk to you. See ya.